54 past the hour this Sunday, voters across Venezuela will head to the polls in what could be the most consequential election in that country's recent history. The leader of Venezuela's opposition party, Maria Corina Machado, was banned by the regime from running in this election. But she brought in former diplomat Edmundo González Urrutia to run in her place. And much of the country has been mobilized behind him. Joining us now is NBC's Guad Venegas. Also with us, Leopoldo Lopez, exiled Venezuelan opposition leader and a public policy fellow at the Wilson Center. Guad, let me start with you. There's so much at stake this Sunday in these elections.
Jose, there is. And I don't think the experts believe that Nicolás Maduro did not expect, essentially, the surrogate candidate to gain so much support. Essentially, everyone that was supporting Maria Corina Machado now supporting this new candidate. And now you have international pressure coming from countries like Colombia and Brazil on Nicolás Maduro. Lula da Silva asking Nicolás Maduro to recognize the results. And they're also not...
These are allies of Maduro.
These are known allies of the government of Venezuela. Both Colombia and Brazil also not sending the observers that would be there to watch the elections because they felt like there wasn't enough to keep them safe there. So that's also something that is getting a lot of attention. And let's keep in mind that the U.S. had eased off a lot of the sanctions on Venezuela earlier, but then they put them back on because Venezuela could not commit to what the U.S. wanted them to commit with fair elections. So, and then, Jose, we also have to talk about the fact that 8 million Venezuelans have left the country. The country has changed since the last elections, and the opposition wants to win so that the Venezuelans that have left can come back, and many of them in the U.S. We still don't know how many are in the U.S. We just know
hundreds of thousands.
Exactly, but what we know is that millions have been forced to leave the country because of the issues that they've been facing.
Well, Venegas, thank you so very much. Leopoldo, I want to thank you for being with us this morning. So for people, Leopoldo, who aren't hyper-focused on what's going on in Venezuela, why are elections on Sunday important under a regime that doesn't follow basic human rights?
Well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for Venezuelans. The elections are not free, are not fair. Our candidate was banned. Millions of people were taking away the possibility for voting. However, we are very optimistic because this could mean the transition to democracy in Venezuela. And I want to very briefly state why we are very optimistic. Number one, for the first time, the spread between the Maduro and the Democratic candidate is huge. All of the polls state that there is a 30 to 40 points of difference. So that's the first reason. The second one is that we have coalesced complete unity around the leadership of Maria Corina Machado and the candidacy of Edmundo González. All political parties, civil society, everybody united. The third reason is that Maduro and his coalition show symptoms of fracture, of fragility. Maduro is angry. He is going to rallies with empty streets. He's not mobilizing people. He's using Photoshop and AI in order to fill the streets that he's not filling with the people. And the fourth reason that was just mentioned is that even his international allies like Brazil, Colombia, Alberto Fernandez from Argentina are all saying something very simple, but that is not being liked by Maduro. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. And if you lose, you need to prepare to go. So this is a huge opportunity for Venezuela, for the region, and I believe that it's a huge opportunity for the U.S. because if migration, as it was mentioned before, is a big concern for the U.S., the best migration policy regarding Venezuela that has poured millions of people to the region and many of them going to the States and Canada is a political transition to democracy in Venezuela. If Maduro stays in power, millions of people will be forced to leave Venezuela.
I'm just wondering what you think the lessons learned for authoritarian and totalitarian regimes about holding elections and not controlling them. What lessons were learned when the Sandinistas had elections and lost them? And then what are the lessons learned when you have these dictatorships that have these sham elections like in Cuba for 65 years, where they have a parliament that doesn't exist, but there's elections for it? What are the messages that those incidents taught Maduro? And do you think that there's possibility that he could indeed respect election results?
Well, I don't think Maduro is willing to respect, but I think he might be forced to respect the results because the difference is going to be huge. It's going to be, if Maduro pretends to present a fraud, it's going to be very obvious because in the case of Venezuela, even though the elections are through an electronic process, every single voter gets a receipt of their vote and is casted into physical box. And we are preparing to have presence of witnesses for the audits of those boxes in every single one of the 16,000 voting centers in Venezuela. So Maduro could be hoping, could be planning to steal the election, but there will be pushback, there will be, and I believe that there will be a reaction of people that will feel that they themselves were stolen their vote.
Leopoldo Lopez, thank you so very much.